Game day's here, I can hear the crowd. Turn on the lights, fans are cranked up and loud. Red or blue, we wear it proud. Yeah, we love our teams in this border town. Chiefs and Royals, Boo Mizzou, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, KU. Hear that drum pounding in your feet. Yeah, you're marching to the beat of KC.
What is going on, YouTube? What is going on, Kansas City? What is going on, Jayhawk Nation? And what is going on, everybody? And welcome to the beat of KC. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lucas Murphy, and the Kansas Jayhawks men's basketball team just wrapped up their final exhibition game against Fort Hays State. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I really want to kind of get this out front. If you were able to watch the game, if you were not able to watch the game, I think it's blatantly obvious the importance of Darren Peterson on this team. I think it was a value to have him sit out for an entire game, but at the same time, you want to kind of keep him up to speed and keep him going. It does sound like he was dealing with some cramping. Later on, they explained that he was dealing with a sickness. That was a portion of why he sat out the second half of the game against Louisville, and at the same time why he sat out completely of this game. Now, he was on the bench, but I did notice he had a water bottle and would rotate at times between, it looked like Gatorade, so I'm sure he was trying to keep and maintain his fluids if he has been sick, and they're trying to pump that out. But, ladies and gentlemen, Darren Peterson is an extremely important piece to this Kansas Jayhawks basketball team. Obviously, he's the #1 overall talent, and we saw just the potential, the glimpse of what was able to happen against Louisville. But the fact that this team had to go an entire game without him, there really wasn't a direct leader. There wasn't a person on the floor in the first half, in my opinion, that would take charge. It was almost like the ball was just being distributed. There was not a whole lot of confidence. They lacked their leader, their captain of the team. They lacked him. And the big thing that I noticed is that when Darren Peterson's on the floor, he drives. He draws, a defender, multiple defenders, which opens up other players within the offense. So if he's driving, he can kick. If he's driving, he can throw it up and, be an alley-oop. There's a lot of things that Darren Peterson just being on the floor attracts, and that's from the other team. Well, when he's not on the floor, it's not as of a competitive, I guess you could say, nature where those guys have to be overly concerned about just a predominant player on the court. And we saw that tonight. Now, your starters for tonight were Trey White, Cole Rosario, Marco Jackson, Melvin Council Jr., and Flory Badunga. And I'm going to go through kind of each one of these and really kind of give you my opinion. The minutes leader was Melvin Council Jr. with 23 minutes. Marco Jackson would come in with 22 minutes. Cole Rosario logged 21. It does look like Jamari McDowell coming off the bench logged 22. Trey White logged 20. The next would be Bryson Tiller at 18, and so on. Looks like Flory only logged 19 minutes. I do think he had 2 fouls. Really, that was the most on the team. They only had 9 total fouls. So for a lot of the time when they were rotating, it was probably either because of conditioning or Bill Self really needed to kind of let them know what he was thinking about, from a coaching perspective, what he was seeing. I think really from me tonight, the standout, there was kind of a 1A and a 1B. Trey White, to me, even though he only logged, 20 minutes, he had 12 points. He was 5 of 9. They really mentioned on the broadcast, in years past, he has the ability to shoot the three-point ball. He just in years past did not always attempt to do that. And he was 2 of 3 from the floor from the three-point line, and he had 6 rebounds, 1 foul, and 2 turnovers. Now, this team had a total of 13 turnovers tonight. It was very stagnant in the first half, and we're going to talk about all that, but this team really just lacked kind of that drive in the first half. And I think, again, it's because Darren Peterson, their main motor, was just not out there. Cole Rosario would log 21 minutes. He had 3 points, ladies and gentlemen, 1 of 5 from the floor and was 1 of 5 from the three-point range. For me, I'm not worried about Cole. I think Cole is getting used to what college basketball is. He's getting used to the speed of college basketball. As a freshman, the lights, when they hit the floor, it's a different environment. It's a different game. There's a different level of competition. It's something that Bill Self has repeatedly talked about when it comes to really what they expect from Darren Peterson. I think that is impacting Cole Rosario. Yes, he can go against the guys on his team. He's used to going against guys on his team. He's used to doing good things in practice and being the front runner and doing all those things. But when the lights hit Allen Fieldhouse and they're, glowing in the fog, that's when you have to be able to step up. And I think it's kind of getting to Cole. And so he'll work through it. I'm not too worried about Cole. El Marco logged 22 minutes, like I stated. He had 6 points, 3 of 5 from the floor, did not attempt any threes. El Marco Jackson, I kind of laugh because his like perfect shot for him, or at least a shot that you can almost guarantee he's going to attempt a few times in a game. He runs baseline and just does a quick jump shot. He does it a countless times, and he did it multiple times in this game. We saw at least it was a drive and a similar path of what he would take for that jump shot in the Louisville game, but he threw it up and it was more of a layup than a jump shot. But that's like El Marco's coined shot, is a pull-up jumper on the baseline. Melvin Council Jr. scored 16. He would lead the way in total points, 5 of 6. From the floor, he did not attempt any threes. He was 6 of 6 from the free throw line. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what I'm talking about. And we'll talk a little bit more about those as well. He did only have 2 rebounds, 6 assists. He had no fouls, 1 turnover, and again, logged 23 minutes. It did not happen until later in the game. Melvin Council started driving the basketball. And I think, again, that is what this team is going to really do. They're going to drive the basketball. They're going to be a drive and kick. They're going to be a work in a higher rate of speed when it comes to bringing the ball down the court. They're going to be fast playing. Bill Self even talked about it a little bit in the pregame and really mentioned the fact that they, up tempo is kind of how they anticipate to go. Now, when guys are pressing and things like that, it really forces you to be at a faster speed, but he likes to play quick. And I think, how this team is developed and the guys that you see that are having success are really kind of buying into that, playing fast, driving down low, kicking and dishing when they need to. And that's what's paying off. I mean, if you think about it, 6 of his 10 points came from going to the free throw line. And so he's taking advantage of getting to that. And obviously that forces fouls on the opposing team. In a market that never sleeps, one name rises above the rest. Lisa Miller from Dan Lynch Real Estate. Trusted by hundreds and recognized across the Midwest. She delivers results when it matters the most. With over 13 years of experience and licenses in both Kansas and Missouri, Lisa isn't just selling houses. She's helping you find a place to call home. Whether you are a first-time homebuyer, looking to upsize, or selling your current home, Lisa makes the process smooth and stress-free. As a local expert passionate about building lasting relationships, she ensures her clients feel confident and satisfied every step of the way. Don't wait, your perfect home is just a call away. Contact Lisa today at 913-579-3246 or 913-369-3000 or visit lisamillersaleskc.com. Let Lisa Miller at Lynch Real Estate help you start your next exciting chapter. And let her know the beat of KC, Lucas Murphy, sent you her way. Flory only had 6 points, was 3 of 9. He kind of struggled a little bit tonight. Did not hit 1 free throw. He was 0 for 5. He did log 9 rebounds. I do believe he had 2 fouls and 2 turnovers. And again, logged 19 minutes. Bryson Tiller, ladies and gentlemen, 10 points, 4 of 6 from the floor, was 2 of 2 from the free throw line. Again, had 7 rebounds, logged 18 minutes. He did have 2 fouls, and I really think those 2 fouls came pretty quick, so he really didn't get to completely play in the first half like I anticipated, and I think he kind of really came in tight on the second half. And so I think we could have seen more from Bryson, but I was still really impressed with his contributions. Now, the guy that I think to me stood out the most, that I think is really raw, I think he has a lot of development to go, but you can see why he belongs, and that's Paul Mbaya. He had 9 points, was 3 of 4. He had 3 of 3 from the free throw line, 9 rebounds. I mean, a wingspan that's nearly 9 feet long. 12 minutes. I'm sure a lot of that has to do with his size, with conditioning, with learning the college basketball game. But at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, he was going against lesser opponents, guys that are going to be a little bit less tier. There was nobody in comparison body size to him on the floor. So he was going to be able to overstand some of these guys. But I think the fact that Paul really contributed and we were able to see a good product from him on the floor, do I anticipate he's going to log 12 minutes in every game? I don't. But do I anticipate him being able to contribute if need be? Yes, and I think that's what you need to see out of a guy like that is if we really get into a pinch with Flory, maybe Tiller, Trey White, and you're really kind of digging deep down on that bench, you know he can at least get out there and do some things for you. So that's what I was really excited to see. To wrap up really the individual pieces, the walk-ons would get on, and a guy that's not necessarily a walk-on, and that's Corbin Allen. He was 0 for 4 from the floor. He did shoot 1 3, was 0 for 1. He did, however, log 2 rebounds, and he logged 3 minutes. Everybody else was kind of relatively in that 2-minute mark. And one guy that actually was able to get in, and I forgot to mention, was Calderon. He was out there for 12 minutes, but really did not contribute outside of playing pretty solid defense and rebounding the basketball 3 times. Now we're going to jump in for team statistics. And this is kind of wild. You know, the Fort Hays State Tigers scored 35 points. And, you know, initially in the beginning of this game, they were kind of hanging in there in the first half. And really towards the end is when Kansas kind of started pulling away. It would be 33-16 at halftime. But the Tigers only shot 26% from the floor. And Kansas would finish with 47%. The Tigers would only complete 16 of 61 baskets. On Jayhawks on the other side, 27 of 57. And then from the three-point line, the Tigers would shoot 5%. I mean, that's an environment, ladies and gentlemen. That's a historical place. I've talked about that. There's an aura about it. When you go in there, like you want to be the best you possibly can. And these guys, you know, went in there and did everything they could. They were 1 of 19 from the three-point line. KU struggled from the three-point line again, which is very concerning to me. We need to start hitting three-point baskets. You have to be able to hit the three-point ball. And clearly when Darren Peterson's not in there, he obviously didn't play this entire game. You shot 27%. You were only 4 of 15. You got to pick that up. The free throw percentage was 65% for KU to 20% for the Tigers. To me, you got to get a little bit better on that. Like, at minimum for me, you got to be shooting 70%. And so they were 13 of 20. We did have 13 turnovers to their 7. So there were some mental mistakes. 13 is an extremely significant amount that can sway a game when you're playing somebody very competitive. Points off of turnovers, they would score 13. We would only score 9. We did, however, out-rebound them 57-25. And again, when you have some predominant big men down low and guys like Badunga, we talked about Mbaya, you got a very physical and athletic Bryson Tiller, you got other big men like Trey White, and the list kind of goes on and on. Even your guards are bigger sized, so you're going to be able to out-rebound them. We did get 43 defensive rebounds to their 19. We had 14 offensive rebounds to their 6. And so really you can kind of just see how this game transpired. I think there is a lot to learn. I really do believe that. I think we learned a ton from this basketball game, and the reason is because Darren Peterson was not available. And when he's not available for a game, who's going to step up when he is absent? And in this case, we ended up finding out later on that Melvin Council would step up in a big way. But in the beginning of this game, it just felt like nobody wanted to take charge. They really wanted to kind of play that team aspect. And rightfully so. That's the whole intent. That's how they're kind of being groomed. Because Darren Peterson's the leader. So when he drives, when he is on the floor and he's working the offense, they're going to feed off of him. If he's kicking and driving, they're going to be getting passes off of him. If they're running their offense, they're going to be getting balls kicked to them, or it's going to be ran through Darren Peterson. So you could just tell that vocal guy was just not there, or that just demonstration of what he's capable of doing was not there. So somebody had to step up. We ended up, like I said, seeing Melvin Council Jr. step up in a big way. I still think there's a ton of learning opportunities. Bill Self will tell you there's a ton of learning opportunities. He even felt in the Louisville game that they didn't play very good on offense. And to me, when you score 90 points, you do something pretty solid. I do think that there's still a lot of improvement for this defense. I think you need to be a little bit more locked down. the stats will tell you that they played really well on defense. I think some of that was just poor shooting, and really the environment was overwhelming for these guys. And so I think the defense needs to be a little bit better. There were times where we were faulty in some areas. Guys were getting down low and unguarded, miscommunications. So those things can kind of be locked up. And I'm sure when they go back and watch film on this game, they'll really start to see that and start to identify that too. I'm excited. I mean, that's it for exhibition games, ladies and gentlemen. No more. I mean, the real season is getting ready to kick off. It's going to be exciting. I'm ready to break that down for you. But we're going to wrap this video up. I appreciate y'all checking out this video. Appreciate all the support, ladies and gentlemen. You guys have given me so much love for this Kansas stuff, and I'm going to keep bringing it to you. So I really appreciate it. Smash that subscribe button. Smash that like button. And as always, have a good day.